I'm Alpha Trivette, and here's my 5-minute take on the world as I start the clock for you right now and say thanks for listening at chillradio.co.uk or for watching at any of these sites. New Radio Alpha, that's nrs.blogtronics.net/alpha, or at kellyandalpha.com, or you find me on Facebook. And as always, your thoughts, comments, ideas always appreciated. I'm going to start by asking you the brain stretcher question for today, and there's a reason I ask it, and there's a reason I ask it the way I do. The question for you is this: with Memorial Weekend coming up, and Memorial Day being the day we honor the men and women who died in service to our country, it was started as called Decoration Day to honor the men and women who died during our Civil War. It didn't become a national holiday, however, until this president made it so in 1971. Who was that president? All right, with the facts I've given you, you should already know the answer. I'll tell you again why I ask it the way I did, and give you the answer coming up in just a few minutes. In Atlanta, we have the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It's our newspaper, pretty much the daily newspaper for the Atlanta metro area. There is a segment called The Vent, in which people can write in and vent on any number of topics, from traffic to daily happenings to their relatives, neighbors, in-laws, whatever. It's kind of like tweeting, except it's not limited to the 140 characters. Sometimes they are witty, sometimes they are insightful, sometimes they are downright intelligent, sometimes they are downright stupid. There was one the other day I want to share with you. It says, "Book sense is better than common sense any day." It is obvious that the person who wrote that vent has neither an abundance of book sense nor common sense, because common sense would say that that's just a stupid statement. I make that statement, or I tell you about it, because common sense seems to be very uncommon in today's world. If you want some examples, I'll be happy to give them to you. Texas is now under a terror watch because some slimeball has been smuggling Somali jihadists across the Mexican border. Not sure where these jihadists are, but we're pretty sure of their intentions, and we're pretty sure they mean to cause harm. Now, your book sense might tell you that if you crack down on illegals and entering the border, then it's inhuman, unconstitutional, and even racist. Your common sense might tell you that a country that cannot control its own borders is not a country at all. And the role of the federal government is to keep its people safe. And if it cannot keep people safe because they illegally cross the border, then it's not doing its job. Your common sense would tell you that we need to control the borders better, and yes, we do need to crack down and get a better idea of who is coming across our country's borders. In New York, they're about to impose what they call a huge millionaire tax. Your book sense might tell you, well, great, we need more money, and it's time we made the rich pay their fair share. Your common sense might tell you that the rich didn't get rich by being stupid. If you raise their taxes to an almost intolerable level, what are they going to do? They're going to move to Virginia or even Florida, where their taxes won't be so high and they can keep the money they make. That would seem to be common sense, wouldn't it? And now, this way, you're chasing them out of the state. You're not going to get that money you planned on, and you won't even be getting the money that you would have gotten had you just left things alone. President of the United States says the BP disaster is the number one thing he thinks about in the morning, and the number one thing he thinks about when he goes to bed. In fact, his daughter Malia came in while he was shaving and said, "Daddy, have you plugged the hole yet?" If this were the case, you'd think, if you had any common sense, that he would devote more time, since he's been on it since day one, to fixing the situation. He says they've been on it, but nothing's been done, really. And he's going down there for a 3-hour tour this weekend. A 3-hour tour. Your book sense might tell you that that's enough, but your common sense might say, well, President Gilligan, that's not enough. And if you were devoting so much time and energy to this whole situation, then perhaps you shouldn't have been lunching with Bill and trying on uniforms with Duke and fundraising with Boxer and vacationing for a second time with your old cronies in Chicago. Your common sense might say, Mr. President, it is Memorial Weekend, and traditionally the President of the United States lays a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery, but you won't be doing that. You'll send Joe Biden to do it instead. Book sense tells you, hey, great idea. Who cares about Memorial Day anyway? Common sense says, we do. And maybe it's time for a little more of it. Answer to the brain stretcher question? It was Richard Nixon. You see, common sense, with a little book sense, would have told you the president in 1971 was Richard Nixon, who named Memorial Weekend a national holiday. Men with uncommon valor who fought for us to uphold some semblance of common sense in this country. Let's hope there's some left. I'm Alpha Trivette. See you next time.